Hi, my friend. It's almost that time of year, Christmas, and I wanted to shoot a quick little video and talk about one of the big things that happens with people at this time of year. A big part of the Christmas and holiday season, I notice over the past 2 decades, is there's a lot of stress and a lot of overwhelm. So today, I just wanted to share a little bit about why we experience stress and overwhelm, and more importantly, what we can do about it to actually change that. So first and foremost, let me give you a little grade 1 explanation of what happens when we feel stressed out or overwhelmed. First and foremost is we have 2 parts of our brain, one called our prefrontal cortex, another called our amygdala. And the second that we start thinking about things from the past and what we're trying to do in the future, those 2 parts of our brain become overactive. And when they become overactive, it actually sends the fear volume meter higher and higher and higher and higher. So the key thing with that is that when we get stuck in the past, a primary emotional state tends to be like guilt or fear. And when we get stuck in the future about trying to get ready and get all those things organized and gifts and dinners and meeting people, again, what starts to happen is that overwhelm fear response, and our nervous system goes into this low grade fight or flight response. So that's the bad news. Now, the good news is you actually have control over this. And so there's some things that you can do to actually augment that stress and that overwhelm. These tips are going to sound really simple, but I want to help you understand how the simplicity of these things can actually create changes in your nervous system, in your physiology, your biochemistry, as well as your hormones. So first and foremost is when we start to get that stress survival response, what tends to happen is we tend to rob our physiology and cells of what I call negative ions. And so negative ions increase those centers in our brain to feel that stress and overwhelm. So when we rob our body of negative ions, one of the best things that we can do is actually replenish and bring in more negative ions. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to actually go outside, spend some time in nature, around trees, around water, around dirt, around soil. And what actually happens is anytime we go into nature, especially areas like the mountains or the forest or deeply green parks, there's a whole bunch of negative ions. And those negative ions start to come in our body. And even if you notice, you ever go for those long walks, you start to feel remarkably better. And there's actually a science behind it. So if you can spend time every single day during the holiday season, even if it's 15, 20, 30 minutes, to be in nature, it makes a world of difference in that stress overwhelm response. The other thing I'll ask you to do is really try to be present in this moment. And one of the best places to practice that is when you're spending time in nature. So the key to being present and in this moment is that your brain and nerve system shuts off those centers and you actually activate what's called our autonomic nervous system. And the easiest way to activate your autonomic nervous system is to simply observe all those things around you, actually not to judge. See, normally we look at things and we think, man, that's good, that's bad, I like this, I don't like that. When you're in nature and say you're looking at the waves and the tides come in, or you're looking at trees being blown in the wind, if you can take a step back and simply observe what's happening and not make it right or wrong, observation brings you into this present moment. And when you come into this present moment, you turn off your prefrontal cortex, you shut down your amygdala, you actually increase something called oxytocin. And oxytocin, it's kind of like this like love hormone. It makes you feel like connected, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel joy, it makes you feel whole. And you have control of actually releasing that. Studies have actually shown that when you spend time in nature, when you become present and you actually observe, you can actually increase your oxytocin by 100%. That's huge and that's enormous. So give these tips a try. I hope you have an amazing holiday season into the New Year's, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Have a beautiful day.